All right, so now we're going to divide rational expressions. So I mean, we multiplied, but now when you're dividing rational expressions, to divide a rational expression, multiply by the reciprocal, which just means by, so if you're dividing, you're going to take your next fraction or your next expression and you're going to flip it, right? So let's look at these examples. Look at example 1. So these are just monomials, right? So what this ends up becoming is 12c squared d over 5a squared b squared, right? But now we're going to flip this and we're going to multiply it. So now this becomes times, and I'm flipping it, 10ab over c squared d squared. Now we did that. Now you just multiply across. So 12 times 10, that's 120. And then there's no a and b here, but there is an ab here. So I have a b c squared d over, now just multiply across. 5 times this invisible 1 gives me a 5. Then I got a squared b squared, and I got c squared d squared. So I'm just going to have a squared b squared c squared d squared. Now I could simplify. 120 divided by 5. What's it going to give me? 120 divided by 5. I got my calculator here. 20 divided by, okay, so I got 24. 120 divided by 5 is 24. And now we're going to simplify our variables. So a squared, so it's a to the first power over a squared. That's going to just give me a in the denominator. B squared, or b to the first power over b squared. That's just going to be a b in the denominator. I got c over 2, or c squared over c squared. That cancels out the c. And I got d to the first power over d to the second power, which is going to be abd. So my answer should be 24 over abd. All right. Let's look at the next one. Well, now we have, just like when we were multiplying, we had to factor first, and then we could multiply across. We're going to do the same thing over here. First, I'm going to factor, right? And then I'm going to factor my numerator and my denominator first on this side. And then when I go to take care of this left side, remember, we're going to multiply times the reciprocal. So when I flip it, I'm going to factor out this x squared plus x minus 2. Right? So I'm going to work on the left side first. I got x squared plus 6 minus 27. So let's do it in a different color so it doesn't mix with that. So that's going to give me, I have an x and an x. And then 27 versus 27 looks like 9 and 3. It's going to be a plus 9 and a minus 3 over. Now I'm looking at this part. I have an x and an x. 18 looks like 9 and 2, right? 9 plus 2 gives us 11. 9 times 2 gives us 18. So plus 9 plus 2. All right, so now I'm multiplying times the reciprocal. So now what I'm going to do is I'm factoring out this denominator, but in the numerator. So I'm going to bring this x minus 3 here. And now I'm going to have an x and an x, right? So negative 2. So we got to give us a positive 1. So that looks like it's going to be a positive 2 and a negative 1. Right, so x plus 2, x minus 1. And then just like when we were multiplying, right? Remember all this, I could just make this one big fraction, right? Because all these are multiplying anyways. Now we could start to cancel out what we got. Let's see, I got an x plus 9, that cancels. X minus 3, that cancels. X plus 2, that cancels. And it looks like I just have x minus 1 left over. And that's my answer. All right, so let's work out these odd numbers. Find each quotient. Final answer must be written in simplest form. So I got x cubed over y squared divided by x cubed divided by y. Well, I can't factor anything out of that, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to multiply, or I'm just going to, multiply times the reciprocal. So let's change that question. I got x cubed over y squared. Now times the y goes in the numerator, this y goes in the numerator, over x cubed. So x cubed times y, that's going to give me x cubed y over y, nope, over, we got to put the x first, x cubed y squared. Well, the x is canceled out, right? 3 minus 3 is 0, so x is canceled. I have y to the first power over y squared. Remember that that denominator, that square is the larger number. So now this y cancels out, and I have 1 over y, and that's my answer. All right, look at the next one. I have 6a cubed over 4b squared divided by 2a squared divided by 12b squared. Multiply times the reciprocal. So now this becomes 6a cubed over 4b squared times, I have 12b squared over 2a squared. All right, I'm just going to multiply across. 6 times 12, what's that give me? 6 times 12. So now I have 72. Looks like a cubed b squared over 4 times 2 is 8. A squared times b squared, so now I'm just going to have a squared b squared. Now we could simplify this into, all right, so 72 divided by 8, that's going to give me a 9. A cubed over a squared, 3 minus 2, that's just going to give me a, and then the b's cancel out. So my answer is just 9a. All right, let's look at the next one. Well, we got a whole number here, right? Doesn't matter. You're still just going to multiply times the reciprocal. Same idea. So now we're just going to put this actually under a 1, right? Because the reciprocal of just a whole number is just that number under 1. So now that makes it a little easy. So now I'm just going to multiply across. 15x squared, y squared times 1. That's going to be 15x squared, y squared. Over, I have 3 times 3xy, so 9xy. So a number that goes into both, 15 and 9, right? So my greatest common factor between 15 and 9 is going to give me 3. So I have a 3, x squared over x to the first power. 2 minus 1 is going to give me 3x. 2 minus 1 is going to give me y. And that would be my final answer. Next one. Oh wait, what just happened? Is that right? What did I do wrong? And over, so I had 15 over 9x y. Oh, hold on. Oh, oh, this is where I messed up. Okay, hold on, guys. So this part is right. This is right. 15x squared y squared over 9xy. But now when I simplify it, 3 goes into 15 5 times, and 3 goes into 9 3 times. So now this gives me 5xy over 3. And that's my final answer. Sorry. All right, number 7. Same idea. So now we have binomials. So now we have expressions that we could factor. Right, so I'm going to factor my left side. I have 8z minus 16. So when I factor out that left side, is that a z? That is z, yeah. So when I factor out the left side, what can I take out of 8z minus 16? An 8, right? It goes into both 8 and 16. So if I take out an 8, I'm left with z minus 2 over 20. Now I'm multiplying times the reciprocal. So when I flip it, I have 40 in the numerator, but I'm going to factor out the denominator. So I could take out a 3, and now I'm left with z minus 2. All right, now we could, we could simplify. Let's just simplify this now. We could go across. So now I have the z minus 2's. These cancel, right? 8 times 40 is going to give me 320 over 20 times 3 is 60. And once I simplify that, that gives me a number that goes into both. 20 goes into both. 20 goes into 320 16 times. And then 20 goes into 60 3 times. And that would be my answer. All right, look at 9. Perfect square, right? 81 is a perfect square. So first I'm going to factor out my left side. I got b minus 9, and I got b plus 9 over b. Now I'm multiplying times the reciprocal. So if this is just a whole number, b plus 9, now this becomes 1 over b plus 9. Right? So now at this point, we could simplify. So the b plus 9s cancel out, and it looks like I'm left with, I got b minus 9 over b, and that's my final answer. All right, because b minus 9 times 1 is just b minus 9. All right, number 11, I have 9 d to the 4th power over d minus 3 times I have d minus 3 over d. All right, the d minus 3s, those could cancel out. I'm left with 9d to the 4th power over d, which gives me 9d cubed, because 4 minus 1 is going to give me the 3. All right, so we're going to factor out the left, factor out the numerator on the left side. And that 9y's, that's not enough for them. Move this over. So factor out the numerator on the left side, and it's going to be over 9y. So I have a y and a y. 2 and 7, right? So looks like this is going to be a plus 7 and a minus 2. Now I'm multiplying times the reciprocal. So I have 3y in the numerator, but in the denominator, I'm factoring out the y squared minus 8y plus 12. Y and y. And so two numbers that looks like 6 and 2, right? So minus 6 minus 2, right? Because negative 6 times a negative 2 gives me a positive 12. Negative 6 plus a negative 2 gives me a negative 8. And now let's simplify this. Y minus 2's cancel. And now I have, looks like 3y times y plus 7 over 9y times y minus 6. So once I simplify this, the y's cancel, right? Y 1 minus 1 is y, is just 0. And if 3 over 9 is really just 1 over 3. So I'm going to have y plus 7 over 3 times y minus 6. And that is it for that one. Let's see what's next. All right, going to 15. Let's factor, right? So look at 6x plus 6. Can I take anything out? Yeah, I can, right? I can take out a 6. So I'm going to do that first. If I take out the 6, I'm left with x plus 1. And then my numerator, or my denominator, I have x minus 1. Multiply times the reciprocal. So now I'm going to factor out the denominator. What can I factor from the denominator? A 2. So if I take out a 2, I'm left with x minus 1. Now I'm looking at the numerator. I have an x and an x. And then minus 2, so if I have a positive 2, so I have 2 and 1. 2 times 1 gives me 2. 2 plus 1 gives me 3, so plus 2 plus 1. And again, yeah, let's just go across. Now let's start canceling what we got. So I have x minus 1, that cancels. X plus 1, that cancels. So now I have, looks like 6 times 2, that's going to be a 12 over x plus 2. And that should be my final answer. All right, and our last one. I'm factoring out the numerator. But it's not a clean factor. I do have that 9, and I can't factor anything out. There's nothing that goes into all three of those terms. So I'm gonna have to factor by grouping. So that's what I'm gonna do first. I have 9x squared plus 6x plus 1. 9 times 1 is 9. So I'm gonna have 9x squared, I brought that down, plus, let's see, 3x plus 3x plus 1. All right, and what do I have when I group? I'm left with, what can I factor out of this left side? So I'm going to take out a 3x, and I'm left with x plus 3. Did I do that right? X plus 3. Hold on. Oh, I'm sorry, x plus 1, I thought. And then on this right side, what can I factor out? So let's see, 9x. So, okay, so I could factor out, remember this was a plus 3x plus 1. So now that's going to leave me with a 3x plus 1. Sorry, so this was 3x plus 1. And now plus a, what can I factor out from the left side? Yep, okay, so it's just that plus 1 and 3x plus 1. So now I got 3x plus 1 times 3x plus 1. All right, so that's what I got on my left side. So I'm going to have 3x plus 1 times 3x plus 1 all over x plus 5. Now I got to flip this side, right? I'm going to factor out this part right here. So what could I factor out from here? So that wasn't an equal sign. Oh no. Please don't tell me I already solved that. Oh, it did. That's okay. I have it right here. So I have a 3x plus 1. 3x plus 1 times 3x plus 1 over x plus 5. And now I'm multiplying times the reciprocal. So I could take out an x, right? So I'm going to take out the x, and I'm left with x plus 5 over 3x plus 1. And now we could simplify, right? Take out a 3x plus 1, take out the x plus 5. And now I'm left with x outside of 3x plus 1. And that's my answer.